Well, hello, it's Jerry again, and back to the fun that is the Nagato. I haven't played this ship for ages. I've done loads of videos on it over the time, but I hadn't really played the Nagato all that much again. I'd kind of Ashitaka and Musashi and Fuso as usual. But I thought, you know what, it's time to give it another run. So here we have Nagato. Top tier, so that's always useful. Up against Leon, Ashitaka, New Mexico, QE, stuff like that. So you know, it's an even battle. Just turned down an invite from a random. I really don't take random invites. So map is neighbours, tier 7 top, lots of tier 5s. I'll fast forward for a little bit because it's a pretty inane team, so I shall move it on a bit now.
Massive storm moving in.
Right, back in the action, just had to start. Team split. I've called out AB in the vain hope that no one goes to C, because obviously C on this map is a little too enclosed. Better to let the enemy take C and then worry about AB. However, we do appear to be losing A because of that destroyer that's in the smoke down there. So facing up against Königsberg, Ashitaka. Mars is spotting me. 14.9 concealment on the Nagato. Not great, but hey. One thing about the Nagato, big guns. Big guns. Not a lot of them, 8 of them, but big guns. You know, when things get hit, they tend to stay hit, which is always nice. Little 10k salvo there on the Ashitaka. I play the Ashitaka a lot, and that is not a great ship for taking into that situation. At that point in my Ashitaka, I would be seriously contemplating turning and kiting, looking at what's across here, maybe get to about 16-17 kilometers, then start kiting, but sitting broadside, nah, never. So the little New Mexico over there, just trying to play. We've just taken out their destroyer. Team's not doing too bad so far. One thing I would say is, although there's a strong force of 6 ships coming over this way from the enemy team, we do have pretty much about 70% of our team here. So it's a little bit weak on the other side. 1 QE, 2 destroyers against the other half of the enemy team. So bearing that in mind, I'm not going to hang around here too long. This does appear to be a bit of a lemming train forming. I know I said AB, but people must have just seen A, not AB. Having a terrible problem trying to lock onto the targets because they're so close. I was actually trying to lock onto the Miyoko, but was struggling to get a lock onto that one. Now we've got the lock on. See if we can do anything to the Miyoko. I doubt it, to be honest, at this range. If he's got half a brain, he's going to be slowing down and speeding up. As expected, just 2.5. So now we start kiting, and I'm going to start angling gently, with not always an eye onto the C cap, because it is quite heavily outnumbered over there. But we just need to thin some of these out. Just need to thin a few of these out, and then we can make a turn and start working on the other. October Revolution again. Nagato guns, if they hit, would do damage, but unfortunately that was not going as smoothly as I thought. Then we have a Miyoko panic stopping and going backwards, so it's never ideal. He's angled, but it's a Miyoko against big guns. He's not going to survive that one, I don't think. Oh, maybe it'll take more than one. Very thin target, Miyoko, when it's angled like that. At range, it's a very thin target. So currently we're down a cruiser, which is the Omaha. We're down an Eagle on the other side of the map, so it is getting quite imperative. On the other side, it's now 2 against 5 over there. So it's probably not the greatest idea to... that'll do for starters. Get rid of the Miyoko. We've just got to thin these down a little bit over here. Get them thinned out before we can turn. Nothing worth shooting at the moment. New mechs potentially. $13k nearly. Ashitaker's done the right move. He's coming out to, well, try and get us guys in a crossfire by the looks of it. We're now down to just the QE on the opposite flank. So we're now down 2 destroyers and a cruiser. So we've lost Jarvis, the Argyle and the Omaha. And this is turning into a little bit of a clusterfuck over here, to be truthful. Too many people. So I'm going to turn away. So I'm going to start making my turn and start heading back towards the other side to try and support the stuff coming in from the back, I think. So it's just roll around. Notice the Leon had already fired, so I'm happy to give a broadside. Going for the superstructure on the Leon, that sort of angle. I'm not going to get into the the lower hull. So they're basically, the Leon's dead. The Revolution's taken itself a little bit out of the game over there. So I'm sure the New Mexico and the Nelson can look after those two. Let's just roll around. Storm's coming in. Just roll around and try and support the other flank. Yeah, unfortunately, watching replays of battleships is never the most exciting because it's little globbits of action and then nothing for a while. So, apologies. I would attempt to fast forward it, but there's just too much stuff going on. The storm is now coming in. It's now 17 kilometres. It's going to drop down to the 8. So, we really need to get somewhere to make some inroads into the enemy team. My Nagato Captain build is a survivability build. I'll try and work out some way of getting it on the screen, but basically we're looking at, across the top line, preventive maintenance. Second line, we're looking at adrenaline rush and expert marksman for the turret rotation. Across the third line, we're looking at superintendent. Fourth, we've got concealment, just concealment. I think I'm running fire prevention as well. So there's 4 points remaining to be spent once I actually grind this captain up to a 19 pointer, and on that one I'll probably shovel something like I suppose potentially basic fire training for the secondaries or something like that. The secondaries on the Nagato are very good. It's actually the ship I've got the most close quarter experts in. When the manual secondaries first came in, Nagato was the only ship that it really had a big effect on at tier 7. And it, up until the Germans came along, it was actually the highest range secondary build in the game. So Helena's just taken a little blat, nothing major. Helena and an Eagle. Our Algery is working on the Eagle. I really need to help the Algery out with this Helena, because the Helena is going to rip him to pieces. Let's get him broadside and see if we can do anything about it. I think I'm already going to lose him. Just waiting for him to make his turn. Drop them in. Dev strike. No, not a dev strike, just a big hit. Going to eat an Eagle torp. Yeah, there was no dodging that. However, I can mitigate and make it just 1. Still looking remarkably healthy at just under 42,000 hit points. Now we need to hunt down this Eagle desperately. Take a 3,800 salvo out of the Eagle. Leaves him with 6,000. Let's get the secondaries locked on. and see if there's anything we can do about it. I was a bit concerned that I was taking hits from that Königsberg unspotted by the Königsberg. A little bit concerned because he shouldn't be able to see me. Now he can see me. Let's just finish off the Eagle and start working on the Königsberg. Switching back to AP because obviously the HE was purely for the destroyer. Dodge the incoming torps from the Eagle. Königsberg's going to attempt to angle in and try and come in nose in, which is always scary. We do that with cruisers. QE's up, so we really need to work on this Königsberg and get him out of the way as soon as possible. Straight through the nose, 20,000. That's what you call a dev strike. So we've got the QE to work on now. We're now up on ships. We're up on points, but we are down on caps. Enemy have a New Mexico, QE and a Mars left. I'm assuming it's the New Mexico in the cap. Now there still is an October Revolution, a Nelson and a Furutaka over there. So they should be able to deal with it. A little 10k salvo from the front guns on the QE. This is where I make my first set of mistakes. Trying to turn to bring the rear guns into action. Trying to catch him between reloads, and he had his rear turrets loaded. So I took a fair chunk through the nose there. Need to get back an angle. Let the front turrets do their work. Overpen. Auto bounce angle there. Let's try and keep that angle if we can. I keep trying to use these rear guns on this one. It's only on watching the replay that begins to worry me how much I'm trying to use the rears when I should just be using the fronts. 12-2. Take a little hit back. Now let those shells come in. That's his rear turrets dealt with. Let's get my rear turrets into action now. Another 6,006. Get the front turrets back on again. Angle back in again. Back to the auto bounce. Let the secondaries do their thing. I've taken way too much damage taken on this QE. Way too much damage. Go for the superstructure here. I should have just let him burn out. I couldn't take a risk on getting another. Letting him get another salvo off. And that's the Kraken. 179,000 damage. We're now down a cap, up by 3 ships. What's left is a Mars on about a third health. I'm dragging myself around with HE loaded, trying to catch him as he comes into view because he's kiting away from that October. So I'm hoping he'll come into view fairly soon. Well, thank you for watching. That's been the Nagato with Cherry, and Nagato at top tier still more than holds its own. Thanks for watching. Take care. Look after yourselves. Stay safe.